Maids. Why do we love them? Is it the outfits? Is it our desire to have somebody take care of us to resolve some kind of psychological issue from our past? Or maybe we're all just degenerates. In any case, tonight we are going to review one of the best series to come out of 2022, Akiba Maid War. Stay tuned. Akiba Maid War, or Akiba Maid Senso, is a series that asks the question, what if Akihabara was more like Ranapur from Black Lagoon? It ran for 12 episodes starting in the fall of 2022, released by Sentai Filmworks. The show can best be described as a dark comedy. It has plenty of funny moments, but there are also plenty of very serious moments, which is what this show does best. Since we are talking about maid cafes, I thought it only appropriate tonight to try out Effen Vodka's Espresso Martini. Now, I don't like coffee whatsoever, but I still think it's worth giving it a go. Here we go. Well, I don't like coffee, but that's not bad. I could drink that. Yeah. I don't suppose that they'll let me drink this at the office for my coffee, but yeah, that's pretty good, so give that a go. Now, my unhealthy maid obsession very likely came from the 1986 movie Clue, starring the great Tim Curry. However, let's talk about our protagonist. Our main character works for the Oinky Doink Cafe, or Tontokoton, a pig-themed maid cafe at the very bottom of their organization's ladder. By the way, oink in Japanese is another one of those silly onomatopoeia differences between our languages, where we would say oink, they say boo boo, which is funny because pigs don't go oink, but they don't really go boo boo either, so it's a funny thing. Now, they're part of the Creature Group, which is a Yakuza-like organization of different maid cafes that are all animal-themed. Now, we can presume that there are other themes because they do deal with like an alien-themed maid cafe at some point during the series, so we can assume there's different kind of groups, just like there's different gangster families, so to speak. But we'd only deal with really one of them during this particular series. The story follows Nagomi Wahida, and she is a young girl just starting out, and she comes to Akihabara to work in the maid cafe industry. Unfortunately, she doesn't know what the world is really like, and literally on her first day, she's exposed to the wanton violence and gangster-like activity that this world is involved in, and it is shocking to her, and it's going to be shocking to the viewer as well. Now, I don't feel like I'm going to try not to spoil too much here, as I always do. Most of what I'm saying is only spoiled in episode 1, so I'm going to keep a lot of the characters and things like that. I'm only really going to talk about 2 characters for the most part, just to kind of keep it non-spoilery. So this young maid joins the cafe only to discover that it's not the cutesy moe fun job she thought it would be. In no time, she finds herself in the middle of street fights, gunfights, shootouts, mob activity, the whole underbelly of organized crime. The other main character, and my personal favorite, is Ranko Manen. Now, Rankin is an ex-convict. She's in her late 30s, and she is now in this maid cafe with all these young teenagers and 20-somethings, and she is by far the best character in the entire series. She's got a really serious overtone, and she's trying to be this maid in a kind of cutesy cafe, and it really has a fun aspect of it, and I suspect she'll end up being your favorite character as well. Now, another thing to point out is that the maids, although people come into the cafes just like, in normal Akihabara and any maid cafe, the general public treats their antics very much like they would mafia activity, in that they don't really get involved. They kind of look the other way, and they are happy to take advantage of the services of the maid cafes, but they don't want anything to do with the kind of underbelly of it, which is kind of interesting, very much like regular organized crime activity, really. Now, I want to point out really specifically, as much as I made some jokes about, the kinks and fetishes about maids, there's really not any kind of fan service or any nudity or anything like that. The show is very much like a gangster kind of comedy. So it is, if somebody's squeamish about, sometimes seeing shows that might have some of that content, it doesn't have any of that. So that's something I know some people look for, and they don't want to watch it with somebody and be surprised by something coming up. There's really none of that whatsoever. So you can be safe in that respect. However, I want to point out there is plenty of gratuitous, bloody violence that if you are squeamish about, there's plenty of that, and it's shocking a lot of times. One moment you're going to be watching them handing out leaflets to their cafe and making ketchup, drawings and doing dances, and the next minute they're blasting each other and stabbing people and involved, just beating people to death, and it's really shocking when you start seeing it. And they do a really good job of showing you these cutesy, bright scenes and really kind of thinking, okay, that's and even injecting a decent amount of comedy into it. So when these violent scenes come in, they shock you. And if it was just an action show, you'd be like, yeah, okay, there's another gunfight, whatever. But because they shock you with it, it really has more of an effect on you. So they really did a good job with that aspect. And people die all the time in this show. So it's really something. You start to think to yourself, why aren't they more shocked by what's going on? And it's just because that's the life that they live in, and it's kind of killing them. The good thing they really do here, and I think Cyberpunk Edge Runners did this pretty well, is that they take the typical story arc that is like the hero protagonist role, and you kind of expect a certain thing to happen. Even in comedies, you expect kind of a certain arc to happen, and they get you expecting that, and then they just hit it with a hammer and they ruin it, and you fall for it over and over again. And Cyberpunk Edge Runners really did that well. Right off the bat, you knew, from the opening credits, you knew how this was going to end, but you still fell into the trap, and they do that for you here as well. So don't be surprised. They're going to hit you with some stuff. They're not afraid to play dirty and get you where it hurts. Again, kind of like Edge Runners. Watch this one to the very end. You got to watch it right to the very end, even the post-credit scenes and everything, and you'll get a good resolution right at the very end. Otherwise, you'll be like, what just happened? This show is available on Crunchyroll and High Dive and wherever the high seas of piracy may take you. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about maid cafes. I myself have been to one maid cafe twice in Akihabara, and it's a place called At Home Maid Cafe. I've been there twice and really enjoyed it both times. I'm going to leave a link to them down in the description because I feel like they've earned your business. And it's a lot of fun. They did a great job with foreigners, and they do a great job making an attempt to converse with people. They probably don't have a good understanding of their language, but they still put in so much effort. So I don't have any pictures of that, believe it or not, because they don't let you take any pictures, which is brilliant, because you're there to experience it, not be on your phone. So I love that. That's a really good thing. So check out that in the description. I also want to ask you guys a favor. This is a small channel, and we just do fun content and enjoy doing it, but our subscribers are growing, and I'd really like to get to 100, and we're really close to that right now. So if you like what you see and you think I've earned it, please subscribe and like it, and please share it with other people, because I love to get the opportunity to converse with you guys down in the comments below. I've been getting a lot of comments lately, and I love talking back and forth and getting your opinions as well. So it's been a delight talking with you guys, and until next time, kanpai.